AJ Brimson and the Titans. Brimson goes from 5'8" to fullback. Do you like that move?
Yeah, I do. I like it that he can just bob up anywhere around the middle of the ruck. We see a lot of fullbacks now on both sides, and they can pop up anywhere. He just got held to one side when he was playing at 5'8". Too much traffic around him. I love his kick receptions, the way he can run the ball and read the game. That's a great move to move him back to fullback.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a real weight off his shoulders as well, that he can just bob up anywhere and he doesn't have to organise that team.
Friday night footy underway, starting on the Gold Coast. Titans, Panthers, and Dylan Edwards goes straight to Eisenhuth. Let's see if this start by Penrith goes up a gear or two on what the coach saw last week against Canberra, which ultimately was a big win for Penrith. They want a better start, and if they do so, what will they deliver, given they went on to beat the Raiders 36-6. He goes 7-0 for the season. Viliami kick out, has his first carry of the game, and here's the captain, the early Dally M leader, before being caught and passed by Ryan Pappenhausen. It's Isaiah Yeo playing the ball, and Edwards gets involved again. Big run meters all season for Dylan Edwards at the back. Coruscant goes to Cleary, and Penrith complete the opening set. You can see the smoke haze as Gold Coast catch is a good one, and Marziu comes back at Penrith.
Well, we saw in the first tackle there that one of their players, Eisenhuth, was driven back, but then they're so powerful in the forwards, they just marched up over the halfway line. No pressure really put on Cleary that time. That's got to be one of the main things, Flanner. You've got to put pressure on the kicker. They didn't do that the first time.
And we got an error here in the first set for the Titan, which is not a good start. But yeah, you're 100% right, Blocker. But that first set for the Penrith Panthers, you could overlay that on all their other sets to start this year. They're exactly the same, but they're hard to defend because everyone knows their job and they do it 100% of the time.
Frustration for Brian Kelly there. Just a clean loss in the tackle. So the opening set incomplete from Gold Coast, and they invite trouble very early on against Penrith.
Clock's off. Stay in there, Toby.
Fantastic possession here.
Wait!
They hold the ball in the scrum. The drive is on by Gold Coast, and they get a result. Not for the first time this season. The push in the scrum works, and the referees allow it to go.
Yeah, really smart play. They know Penrith are going to trap the ball in their second row, and they were ready for it. They pushed, and they got a result. Well done.
Herbert's then pushed backwards, and now Tino Fa'asuamaleaui look at it again. Gold Coast alert to the tactic used by Penrith, and able to counter as Isaac Liu has possession here for Gold Coast. Toppled last week by North Queensland 30-4. Their only double-figure defeat of the season as Sexton slips under some high-ish contact from Eisenhuth. Nothing in that. Now Brimson up in the line. Sexton gathers himself for the kick. It's high above Seabus Super Stadium and caught. The contest by Beau Fermor nearly delivers a result. You enjoy seeing players attack the kicks these days, look to make the catch. Beau Fermor did that and very nearly rolled over afterwards.
Yeah, it was a beautifully weighted kick and it was in the right spot. And he just got the jump on Dylan Edwards, but Dylan Edwards knew he had to make that tackle and he just pulled him up about a metre short.
Sideline for us tonight, James Hooper. This is an encouraging start by the home team.
Evening, Matty. G'day, everybody. Yes, the Gold Coast, they are on the front foot as Penrith get a rewarding penalty there. But ground level conditions, Matty, are absolutely perfect. The surface looks immaculate. It's 21 degrees. There is a little bit of a breeze blowing across the ground, so I expect to see Nathan Cleary and Toby Sexton trying to make full use of that in the air.
Gee, they won that penalty well there, the Penrith Panthers. They fight and play the ball better than anyone. When they've got the ball, you saw a perfect example there from Charlie Staines fighting to get up and play the football, wins the penalty.
Yeo just tipping it on for Eisenhuth. Penrith own this matchup with Gold Coast. 15 wins, 7 defeats. Even with a winning record here at Robina against Gold Coast, 6-4. Their first meeting in almost a year. Penrith through Yeo to Cleary out the back into Luai. And they go inside the 20. And Luai caught by Patrick Herbert and Sexton. flats. The ball goes back to the halfback. Liam Martin was with the offload. Still inside the first 5 minutes. The first of 2 games on Friday night footy as Luai kicks off the left foot, just chipping the ball towards the corner where the returning Corey Thompson takes the catch and returns the kick.
Yeah, real experience from Corey Thompson. He's not the tallest man, but he got himself into a really good position and comes down with the football.
Playing only his 3rd NRL game of the season. Back from a fractured hand that cost him the first 3 rounds of the competition. Bit of experience, 31-year-old Corey Thompson on this right wing for Gold Coast. Now Brimson. In the halves, he'd average less than 50 run metres per game. How many does he tally tonight, AJ Brimson? Returning to fullback as Gold Coast get the penalty.
Yeah, going and looking for the football, hasn't he, AJ Brimson, early in the game? As I said, playing at 5'8", he got stuck on one side, already bobbed up in a couple of different places, and wins the penalty for his team. Right through the meat of this Penrith Panthers side, tries to get to his feet to play the ball quickly. They get the penalty.
Justin Holbrook said it this week. It's a move designed to spark AJ's running game and try scoring. Just the 1 4-pointer for him through 7 rounds. In round 3 against the Tigers, here's Isaac Liu in his first season as a Titan after 9 successful years at the Roosters. Sexton flat for Fasua Malaawi, who bounced off the shoulder of kick out into the clutches of Eisenhuth and Yo. And Brimson for Herbert. Again, he bounced away from kick out momentarily, and the Army looked stunned by the contact. Aaron Clark drifting across the field. Quick hand, Sexton missing the mark. Will Smith went without it. Brian Kelly cleans up. Charlie Staines wraps up the ball along with Martin. Last play for Gold Coast. Sexton will kick. Making it a 50-50 ball across the ground. It's allowed to bounce out towards Thompson. And now dragged towards the sideline. Flag stays down. It's smart work by Penrith. Taylor May almost was dragged over the sideline, and now Penrith get a penalty.
Everyone, mate.
Yeah, real lack of discipline by the Gold Coast Titans. They've shown a really good start and come up with some nice football, but given 2 penalties, cheap penalties on tackle 2s coming out of trouble. They need to be more disciplined if they're going to compete against the Penrith Panthers.
AJ Brimson was claiming Taylor May went out, but the touchies tonight, John Stone on that near sideline, having a really good look and deciding the flag stays down.
Well, I think you might have found that was a little bit of a con there from Brimson.
Luai crossing halfway. James Fisher-Harris winds up, passes at the line for Yo. Halfway through their set, they're in good position now, Penrith, and they get a fresh set. The first ruck infringement from the game.
So hard to handle, Matt. You just see there James Fisher-Harris onto Yo, and sometimes it's around the other way. 2 big men carrying the football at speed and be able to tip on and play pre-line.
2 ball-playing big men, you're right. There's a horrible ball. Arpi Coruscant, his pass trapped by Cleary. And Fisher-Harris dances his way into the middle of the field. Legs tackle Fasua Malaawi. Cleary, 10 metres out, the grubber goes through the line. Work to do for Gold Coast. And Herbert plays it safe.
Always at you, isn't he? Cleary, he's got a great armoury with his kicking game. That time the short kick in and behind. They had to just get on their bike and rush to clean that up. It was Patrick Herbert. It's a kick for kick out. Herbert gets back there and lays the ball down on the ground, forces a line drop out.
Played one of his best games. Magic round last year against Gold Coast when these 2 teams last met. A hat-trick for Nathan Cleary, 2 try assists. He kicked 8 from 8, so 28 points, made 9 tackle busts, had 119 run metres, Flano. Was nothing he didn't do.
Yeah, amazing effort. Just to see in the background there, Toby Sexton getting some treatment to a nasty little head gash.
So looking to maintain and mount more pressure here, Penrith. completing all 6 sets so far. Dominating possession. Martin direct towards Will Smith. Coruscant. Yo finds Fisher Harris again. That combination through the middle of the field. And Fisher Harris takes a few more metres. Cleary. Inside ball for Edwards to explore up the middle, and he goes very close. Options both sides. They come left. Cleary. And now Tago had no room. Shut down by Proctor and Sexton. Gold Coast with one more tackle to navigate here. Cleary's grubber. Again through the line. Again into the in goal. And again, the Titans have to play at it. AJ Brimson.
Yeah, Liam Martin set up, blocker there. It was a run that he had. I think it was tackle 2, how direct he was on that right-hand side of the play the ball. And it just created so much momentum off the back of the Gold Coast Titans. Defensive line couldn't come forward. They were standing on the heels. This run here, so direct and powerful, goes over the 6, gets the 1 involved, and then it's just good night from there. They just play over the advantage line.
Nathan Cleary goes to 8 forced dropouts for the season. Too early in this game. Eisenhuth, former Parramatta under-20s player, former Tiger, on his second year at the Panthers. Yo. Cleary again. It's kick out. Coruscant long for Yo. Cleary now. Numbers ticked on by Edwards. Crichton, Staines, backpedals, and the defence does enough. Edwards for Fisher Harris and Luai are their numbers here. Viliami kick out, straightens, twists, turns, and now succumbs. Mo Fotuaika, the last man up for Gold Coast. Fisher Harris to Cleary. And off the stop-start, Eisenhuth takes tackle 5. Is it Cleary again with a kick into the in-goal? And instead he puts it down. Well, Gold Coast defence gets a result, and who knows how good it might be. Marziu fending his way down the sideline, and you can hear the appreciation from the Gold Coast crowd in the background.
What a chase it was from Abby Coruscant, the hooker there for the Penrith Panthers. It looked like he was on his way, Marzu, and it was a great chase there. Enthusiastic stuff, but great defence there from the Gold Coast Titans. A few sets on their line, and it's a great start from them.
Proctor goes back to Herbert, and he takes some contact that initially seemed to impact his face. It was Viliami kick out, but play's allowed to continue. Fotuaika, averaging more than 100 run metres per game, as is Basur Malahali and Fafita. And this is Clark. Proctor for Sexton. Now Brimson joins in. Smith kicks, doesn't find the in-goal. Edwards bumps into Staines and goes to ground.
He's a smart player, Edwards. You know, it's what he does at attack. You know, he's so valuable to the team. He does those tough yards, but defensively, he organises his team, and it just shows there. The ball on the ground, he's there to cover up.
And Flano, it's a huge job for Will Smith to come in and really take over the kicking. You know, it's his first game back at 5'8". They've moved Brimson back to fullback, but that's a big job for him tonight.
It is a big job, and you know, we spoke earlier, Blocker, about David Fafita coming off the bench, and you have young halves, and you had Brimson in the halves previously. You know, I feel if Fafita's in a side, if he's throw him in this Penrith side, Nathan Cleary and Luai would get him the football.
Yeah,
and if you've got young halves, they just can't get the gun players the ball when they want it. So that's a challenge for young Smith. Oh, he's not young, he's been around for a while.
29-year-old, and when he played 5/8 round 1 against Parramatta, he had a career-high 3 try assists. This is his 20th game playing 5'8 in his 84-game career. The utility that is Will Smith, but Penrith now put it down again. So after being 6 of 6, a couple of errors creeping into the game.
Yeah, Justin Holbrook would be ecstatic with this start. They've defended their try line well on a couple of occasions, and you know they haven't done that well when they've had some good football, but they're causing some errors out of the Penrith Panthers, which is hard to do. So off to a really good start. Good 15 minutes.
Tonight's game on the Gold Coast as Justin Holbrook looks down on his home grounds. Nathan Cleary in the rest of the competition, along with Dad Ivan, bound for Magic Round, only a fortnight away, a 3-day festival of football. There are plenty of tickets available, 1 or 3-day passes. Head to nrl.com/tickets to be part of the party that is Magic Round, not far away now. Will the Panthers still be unbeaten heading into that game when they feature on the Saturday night against Melbourne? What a matchup that is as part of Magic Round. Penrith, Melbourne, not far away. You can see the tackling that Gold Coast have been forced to do in comparison with Penrith. But thankfully for Coach Holbrook, his men have ball in hand now. 15 minutes gone in this first half. Sexton, followed by kick out. Toby Sexton, only his 11th NRL game, and messing the ball up. He appeals that it was because of Viliami kick out, but it just seemed rushed.
Dude, it's been a sloppy 5 minutes from both sides, really. A couple of errors from the Panthers, and that time Toby Sexton tried to get on the outside there of kick out, tried to get up and play the ball quickly, but just slams the ball on the ground. That's a terrible play the ball. You've got to do so many things well when you play the Panthers. You can't afford to give them the ball back like that.
It's something we do so often, Block, is play the football, and we mess it up so often. It's such a basic skill in the game. We've just got to get that right if you're going to compete against Panthers.
That's it. Stay down there, Kevin. Ball in. Break.
So errors all square. And Crichton, fresh from a hat-trick last week, the first hat-trick of his career. The penalty try helped that tally for Stephen Crichton last week. Coruscant for Yo. Fisher Harris loses his legs. Tino Fa'asuamala-Awi, the young captain of this Gold Coast team, now Cleary to Martin. Yo, the inside ball for Eisenhuth, trying to offload. And Aaron Clark shuts it down. Cleary this time chips out towards Herbert. Kikau is there, pushing it backwards for Tago. Luai has it. Proctor grabs hold of him. Still the last. Fisher Harris goes back to Cleary, who banana boots the ball across field into the hands of Staines. Picked up by Crichton. Another kick, if you can call it that. It's a backwards kick. There's a new trick for Stephen Crichton. Still the last. What's that kick, number 4 of the set? It goes into the in goal and too far.
I'll tell you what, you can see how smart Cleary is. There was a economy of errors there, but he looked up and he saw no fullback at home, puts a grubber kick through for himself. Brilliant play. Ball goes dead in goal, but
Shane Flanagan, how many of those kicks went where intended?
Yeah, not too many. Well, just Nathan's 2 kicks went where it was intended to. I thought we were going to get a big Nelson Asofo-Mona kick across field for a try, like Melbourne Storm a couple of nights ago, but we didn't get one. But now that man there would be disappointed with that last kick and that last sequence of play.
Now, here it is with Brian Kelly. I think Nelson Asofo-Solomona might have been watched by a few other forwards last week and all of a sudden thinking, hang on, I could do that.
Well, I think a couple of coaches might have shown that video and said, none of you do this.
yes.
Ever.
NKA, never kick again.
Fa'asuamala-Awi finds Brimson. Brimson off the right with a ball for Clark, and now Liu. He looks very comfortable, doesn't he, AJ Brimson? As Fodawaker goes through Sexton. Proctor, the inside ball, Brimson on cue. Pulled down by Tago in a try-saver. The Penrith centre with a beauty, and now it's put down by Sexton.
Now, I hope this young fellow isn't rattled. First, the play the ball mistake when Kikau made the tackle on him. Now the lost ball. I'm going to see how he recovers now when you're a young half like that, Flano.
Yeah, really interesting. They got a really quick play the ball, a nice outside-inside play to Brimson. and then he's looking up, worrying about his outside man, and just takes his eyes off the ball a touch before he actually got it into his mitts, and he comes up with an error. And you're right, Block. He needs some experienced players around him now just to wipe that off, forget about it. What's next?
Stay in, stay down, Titans. Ball in. Break.
Stephen Crichton. Now Martin. 3 games for New South Wales, and he's clutching here at the neck, and it gets the result. Mo Fodawaker pinged for a tackle that must have been deemed crusher.
I reckon you'd need a baseball bat to hurt him. How good is he?
Yeah, I was just about to say, Block, if you had to pick your footy team, I think you'd pick a couple of Liam Martins in it.
He'd be there. Straight away, first pick.
Just stay, Jerome.
So we go past the 20-minute mark. Penrith only beaten 6 times since 2020, and in 5 of those games have been held to nil inside the first 20. So a good sign for Gold Coast in terms of what they've done defensively. And now there's a penalty to the visitors. Sorensen on the field. He attracts the whistle of Peter Goff.
Back here on the 40.
See, mate, you just can't do that against this team. Yeah, they're the Premiers, and you just give them field position. It's a 3rd penalty that they've given to the Panthers coming out of trouble. It's silly, and it's going to eventually they're going to get them.
Sorensen. Here's Yo, called by Fisher. Harris, who accelerated onto the ball and into Kevin Proctor.
Have it now.
Yo, ball playing again for Cleary, who was under pressure. Will Smith races up, ball and all. And then the reinforcements lend their support. Yo, passing again, this time flat for kick out. He's held by Vasu Malaawi and Sexton. 2 plays left. Yo, now Cleary, big hole in front of him, which means there's a gap somewhere, and it Staines. Edwards! Dylan Edwards, it opened up on the left-hand defensive side of Gold Coast, and Edwards gets his 2nd try of the year.
Well, they just keep trying to rush Cleary all the time, don't they? Smith made a tackle, a couple of tackles a little bit earlier. That time he sums it up quickly, over the top to Staines, gets the ball back on the inside to Edwards. Now, they just didn't shut the gate back on the inside there. They got him for numbers. Just watch how he does this quite comfortably. Skips back on the inside, gets the ball, and Edwards is a genius at taking off. They can't go with him. And after mounting pressure that they have early in this game, forced a couple of line dropouts, now they're able to score. That's what they do to you. They wear you down.
Yeah, I look at it 2 ways, Block. I've seen Will Smith twice. He's come out in this game and shut Nathan Cleary down. He's come in, outside in and shut him down. And on that occasion, Nathan went there the first time. They went away back to the middle of the field. And then when they came back, Nathan was way up the back and Will Smith couldn't get to him.
Well, hang on. This is an indicator, isn't it, that we are likely to see a red light.
It's about Nathan. Nathan passes and goes into the line. I don't feel that he obstructs anyone. It's when he comes back.
Okay, at this stage, Nathan Cleary is ahead of the ball. Mo Fodawaker shouldn't have to contend with him to get around and attempt a tackle.
Mo Fodawaker was 1,001 to get to Edwards there.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree, Blocker, but he's standing in the defensive line. It's always been a rule that if you stand in the defensive line and obstructed anyway, you know, the video ref can't decide that, hey, that's a front rower. He would never have got there, or it was an outside back. He would have got there. The rule's the rule. He stood in the line, no try.
Because you were there, you interfere with his ability to defend, Nathan. That's why it's a penalty. What was that?
So even though it
I don't like arguing with you, Block.
No, that's right. I like your opinion. You're a good kid. I've always loved you.
So Shane Flanagan, as the Premiership winning coach, even though it goes against Nathan's instincts here, your instructions to him are, once you pass that ball there, just keep going through the line or get back
Yeah,
faster than you did.
It's a tough one because you didn't know the offload was going to come and the ball was going to come back to him. But if you find yourself standing in the line and the ball's coming back towards you, you've either got to get behind the football or push through the line. It's a really tough one, but I agree with that call.
And because of the way the ball went, it's just an unfortunate coincidence.
Correct.
That Nathan was there in the end. So we're nearly 23 minutes into this game, Shane Flanagan, Stephen Blocker-Roach. When would you inject David Fifita?
Well, we heard the coach in the pre-game that he'd come in about the 60-minute mark, so I think he'd be warming up at the moment. And, you know, obviously with this start, you know, especially with the scoreboard, that it's a really good time to put him on that field.
Well, he's got to do something when he comes on. He's got to make an impact. No good warming up on the sideline, coming in 20 minutes in and not doing anything. Yeah. He needs to get his hands on the ball.
Clark throws a ball that Mo Fotuaika couldn't get his hands on, and for the time being, David Fifita still parked there beside the replacement player, Jermaine Osaka. Herman Essa to make his return to the NRL, we expect later on as well. Tanner Boyd, another called onto the bench.
Do you know what, if I was David Fifita, I'd be up saying to the coach, hey, come on, come on, get me on.
It's interesting, last year they struggled with how to get David Fifita in, and it hasn't changed this year. We're 8 rounds in and they still haven't worked out what the best case scenario is for that man, whether to start him, give him a spell before half-time and get him back on in the second half, or just start him and let him run out of petrol.
Right.
Here's Taylor May. Haven't seen a lot of Taylor so far this evening. A try scorer in his last 5 games. In fact, all of his 5 games this season. Does he keep the run going? And here he comes. David Fifita warming up sideline. With his coach describing his role as impact player. Go and have an impact. Let's see if he does shortly. Tago. He loses the ball, and that'll be called knock on Penrith.
Matt, he could have the best intentions of being an impact player, and he have the best mindset, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make an impact. I'm going to run as hard as I can, as many times as I can. But people have got to get him the ball in the right position. He can't be standing still when he gets it. He can't be standing out on this right edge just waiting for it. His halves have got to get him the football in the right place at the right time.
A lot of his numbers this season compare very similarly to last season. The big difference is tackle busts, which are basically halved this year compared to last.
Well, a lot of the time I see David Fifita, he's standing when he receives the football.
Okay,
he's got to be moving. It's what good players, what they do off the ball.
Right.
You can't see it a lot of the time, but they're moving before they get the football.
Thompson standing in the tackle, but driven backwards as a result. And he goes on for Isaac Liu. David Fifita. Now Sexton to Fotuaika. Here he is, first touch of the game, and the Panthers were waiting blocker.
Well, there's the first example, exactly what Flano's talking about. He's flat-footed, charge onto the ball.
They get a set restart, Gold Coast. Tino Fa'asuamaleaui bumping his way across fields. And only now stopped by Penrith on the Panthers' 20-metre line. Greg Marziu. Talking of tackle busts, he started the round second only to Sisifo Talakai. Sexton. Toby Sexton runs the big arc, gets down low, but ends up held up. So close for the Gold Coast half.
Well, there's that Edwards and also Isaiah Yeo, I think. Looks like he was going to score for all money there.
Will Smith from 10 out goes to Bo Thurmore. Another try saver. Stephen Crichton one-on-one. A fantastic stop. Now the fumble by Smith. And they burn a play. He's about to take tackle 5. We're seeing why Penrith are the best defensive team in the competition. The kick by Sexton sits up for Edwards. Take a bow, the reigning premiers.
Yeah, some really good scramble defence, and you know, some good attack there from the Titans as well, and a really good field position from the Panthers fullback. He just knew what was coming and he was there just to eat it up. If if you just watch Williama Kikau when he comes onto the football and then compare it to David Fifita, Williama Kikau runs hard and does a lot of work before he gets the football. That's what David Fifita needs to do.
Young Tago taking that latest hit up now. A stumble for Taylor May. Penrith complete with the kick just their own side of halfway. Long down the ground, it's allowed to bounce by Brimson. Marzu will accompany the ball over the dead ball line, so the Titans get lucky there. They weren't under a lot of pressure, but if you let the ball bounce, I've always been told you're inviting trouble.
Yeah, exactly right, Matt. You've got to get underneath this. We just don't know where it's going to go. It could bounce back to the Panthers' side. They got lucky here. Goes dead and they get a 7-tackle set from the 20-metre line.
Fifita has his second carry of the game. Now Fodawaker. Suamala-Awi goes through Smith. Quick hands Fermor to Brian Kelly. And Fermor will have an explore down the short side. Gold Coast, they've lost all 5 games, leaking more than 18 points, but won both when conceding less than 18. So this scoreline will be encouraging to them so far. Yes, Penrith defended brilliantly a moment ago, but Gold Coast have certainly stiffened their defence on last week as well. Fodawaker, after a set restart, gives them a fresh set. In great position here to land the first blow. Brimson for Herbert, and Herbert puts it down on the second tackle after a set restart. Frustration, frustration, frustration for Justin Holbrook.
Well, you're 100% right there, Matty. It is frustration because what the Panthers do is get up in your face and make tackles. Again, they tried to go at the line through Brimson. 2-man tackle there. Herbert puts the football down, but that's the second tackle. Wow, you've got to build momentum if you're going to beat the Panthers.
Well, on a Friday evening, it's
Let's go 10
time to be a bit thirsty, and here's the VB hard-earned index. Matthew Eisenhuth leading from Tino Fa'asuamala-Awi.
David, head off, pop off. Stay in, AJ.
Nearly 100 run metres for Eisenhuth, and that's starting front row role tonight. One of the off-contract Panthers at the moment at Penrith, Matt Eisenhuth, along with Jamin Salmon on the bench, and Taylor May on the wing. A host of Panthers off-contract next season, or in November, at the end of 23. So some work to do off-field for the Brains Trust at Penrith, and now Edwards doesn't complete the play the ball properly. There have been some errors in this game tonight.
Just fighting for every centimetre too. It's Proctor showing his experience, looks up the referee for a penalty, but forgets to play the ball. Concentrate on what you're doing.
Coach Killerblock, like he spoke about earlier about the Penrith line speed. We all watch a lot of football. Penrith consistently over 80 minutes. Their line speed is #1 in the NRL for me. They get up off the ground. They've got a good contact and wrestling defensive system, but line speed right across the field. They've got a good set of athletes. Consistently, they're the best.
James Hooper sideline reporting Spencer Leniu coming on for James Fisher-Harris. So both starting props, Eisenhuth and Harris, have their breather now. Is it the time for David Fifita to have his impact inside the final 10 of the opening half? Leniu didn't appreciate the grip from Fifita. Here's Fa'asuamala-Awi. Sexton with Lasone, a dummy runner. It's Fodawaker. Kevin Proctor, the man to get a breather for Sam Lasone to enter the equation. Here he is, Sam Lasone passing through the hands of Sexton. Fifita can't brush away from Luai up top, and Tago down low. So So Sexton puts it in the air, kicking across the ground out towards the wing of Staines. And, of course, Stephen Crichton centre position. He wins the leap, and they'll work it off their own goal line.
He's so athletic in the air, isn't he? Stephen Crichton, big, tall man, just gets up above the pack again and now takes a carry after receiving the ball there on the full. A couple of tackles down the track, and he's out there running it again.
Last trick out. Where, Toby?
Is Taylor May playing the ball?
Let it go.
Coruscant for Edwards. Spencer Leniu very nearly got in the way of that. And Cleary will kick from inside the 40, turning Marziu around. Greg has it covered. And Nathan falls just short of the 40-20 he was aiming for.
And it just shows you about the Panthers side. It was an early kick by Nathan Cleary, but they still had at least 10 in that kick chase line. And the first tackle's made on the 20-metre line.
Now Corey Thompson. Nathan Cleary with 140-20 already this season. In Bathurst, if memory serves me. Here's Herman Essa.
That's the way to run.
His first NRL since Magic Round last year. Sexton completes. High above Seabar Super Stadium, it will bounce, splitting the men at the back. And on the first bounce, the leap of Dylan Edwards gets the job done.
Yeah, there's a little bit of contact on Toby Sexton after he kicked the football. It wasn't high or anything, but he just landed awkwardly. Happy Coruscant getting out and putting kick pressure on.
Not a lot of points at half-time for Hannah Hollis, Greg Alexander and Benji Marshall to look at, but plenty of defence and determined defence at times to review. Now, Taylor May with 6.5 left to go before that half-time show. Cleary just had to go in behind Sorensen. Again, he's looking for a 40-20. Again, he's very close. And again, Gold Coast deny him just.
Well, we know what Nathan Cleary's attitude is. I'm going to change the game, and it's going to be off the way I play and my boot. Twice in the last 2 sets, he's gone early. He's gone for that touchline, and he hasn't been far off.
The Dalian halfback of the year for the last 2 years. Smith goes long for Sexton. Thompson probing through the middle, tackled by kick out. Essa again. In that Magic Round game, he lasted 8 minutes before being sent off and hasn't seen NRL since. He said he's a changed man this week.
What's he been in hibernation? That's ages ago.
COVID conspired against him, and he's played some lower grades this season. Here's the kick, high. Again, asking a question of Edwards, who appeared to knock it on into Farsua Malaawi. Let's see how Peter Goff rules this.
Nathan, got a knock on Penrith. Yes,
He's saying challenging.
Okay.
Dylan Edwards is.
Jerry, we have a captain's challenge. Penrith are challenging the decision of first knock-on in a double knock-on.
I think he's saying Farsua Malaawi got the first touch on the ball. Edwards is pretty confident about it by the look of it. Is he onside?
The lead kick chaser has both feet behind the ball and is onside.
I've got to go to OPSN.
So have I.
Man, he come.
And then Farsua Malaawi just mistimed the jump slightly, but was it enough to force the error from Dylan Edwards?
Just looking to see if there is any touch from the Gold Coast player in the kick contest. That angle shows that there is not.
No way.
So knock on Penrith.
Knock on Penrith.
We just need to look from the side now to determine if Dylan Edwards has knocked the ball on.
I'd like to go back to see if he was onside from the kick.
Well, the ball goes into the leg of Tino Farsua Malaawi, and that has
Dylan
to be
Edwards
knocked
has
forward.
knocked the ball
Yeah,
on.
knock on.
The challenge is unsuccessful.
So Penrith, normally pretty good on the challenge front, burn theirs with 5 left in the first half.
Well, Flano, this is where you've got to have another gear if you're the Titans to get that try just before half-time. They need to be able to lift now, the Titans.
Yeah, well, the Titans, for me, in this last 5 minutes block, they don't have to score off this set. Put the Penrith Panthers under a bit of try line pressure. If they can't get points this first set, get a repeat set and put them under try line pressure. It's amazing, Block. You've been there plenty of times. Defending your try line, you'd have a different mindset. You move faster, the missed tackles.
More urgency.
Yeah, more urgency and so on. So just put them under pressure.
We haven't had a scoreless first half this season. In fact, we've only had 4 since the start of 2020, over the last 2 and a bit seasons. Only 4 with exactly 5 minutes left in the first half. Can Gold Coast make sure this isn't the first scoreless opening half this season? Right here, Herbert. Clark goes to Lasone. And SASA was winding up. His run goes unused. Now SASA for Sexton to be drilled by Viliami. Kick out. The white flash. Lasone. Hard into Sorensen, who makes a good tackle. Now Clark again. It's the crash play. SASA with Sorensen waiting again in conjunction with Edwards. Last play. Lasone for Brimson to Grubber. Taylor May has it set up. And Taylor May goes beyond the 10-metre line.
Look, I don't want to make it a David Fifita first half story, but they get into good field position. From the scrum, they let him go as a lead runner and they play out the back. They don't go to him. And that whole set, he never touched the football. It's not David Fifita's fault. It's his half's fault. Getting the ball in good field position, moving.
Middle again.
And another error by Penrith.
Yeah, there's no use in being down there on the attacking zone 20 metres out and running decoys.
No, exactly, Block. And that's what he did on play 1.
The Panthers scored 36 against the Raiders last week, 40 against Brisbane prior to that, 32 against the Dogs, and before that 26 against South. That's their last month. Yeah. Big totals along the way. And we're 3.5 from the break and they get to score.
And Penrith don't give that many errors away usually, or give you this much opportunity on their try line. I'd just like to see the Gold Coast get some points just before half time.
Brian Kelly trying to land his 5th try of the season. Second only to Philip Sami in terms of their leading try scorer. Sami out. Here's Marziu. 3 tries for the left winger. And the fumble at double half. Aaron Clark.
Up now, score!
It's been ruled knocked backwards, knocked sideways by the referee. Play on the ruling. Lasone. Now Clark. SASA takes them on, gets the ball away for Clark, who was under pressure, and takes the tackle. Tackle 5. Sexton called by his outside men to put it in the air. He does. Herbert pushes it back into the hands of Fifita. Still the last. Vasul Malaawi goes to Sexton. Here's Fifita. Can he wind up? Big David late in the first half. The offload to keep the play alive. Still the last. Now the kick from Smith. Out to Marziu. And the Gold Coast get it done. The offload from Fifita. The kick inside, the pick-up and try from Greg Marziu.
Well, good on the Titans there. It wasn't pretty to watch. They were all over the shop. The ball comes out the back. It was a beautiful run there and powerful there from the big fella, David Fifita. Just flops the ball out the back with the offload. Then the crossfield kick. They competed for the high ball. Phil Sarmali, he gets the ball there. And here it is. Now the crossfield here. This is the flop back pass here. It was to no one really, but they summed it up pretty quickly. The chip and chase under all sorts of pressure there, Staines, and that is a great try to the Titans. They lead at half-time.
Flano the roll here, yes, the offload from Fifita, but Will Smith, his role in this try.
Yeah, he made himself available. They shifted over to the right and Will Smith was involved in that play, but then he got himself behind the football again in the right position to get that kick away. And as you said, Matty, it needed to be one of those plays. It needed to be one of those halves, not a middle forward putting that kick in. He puts it on the spot and the winger does the rest.
He Played 8 NRL games last season. The man there embraced by Patrick Herbert. And this is 8th of 2022. Greg Marziu making that left wing position his own. He's strong. He's busting tackles and he's scoring tries. He's 4th of the season. And Gold Coast edge their way in front in the shadows of half-time.
It's a tough place to go. I remember in 2016 we'd won 15 in a row and we went up to the Gold Coast and we had a draw. Penrith 8 in a row this year. Who knows?
Cut to the head of Toby Sexton, who missed his only attempt last week. He's kicking barely above 50%. And this is a tricky one. First up, it will be a big confidence boost if he can knock it over, but he drives it to the right of the posts. And we've had 11 errors in the first half, 6 of them by the Panthers. Defence has dominated quite obviously, but with seconds remaining, it's the Titans finding the front after the offload from David Fafita.
Yeah, they did well, didn't they, Flano? Just to scramble so well that time. They caught it for numbers.
Yeah, and that's those stats that you just read out there, Matty. That's a full-time stat error package for Penrith Panthers usually, not by half-time. They don't give you 6 errors per half, very, very rarely.
Make sure we stay on side here, guys.
Only time for 1 or 2
Stay
plays here. A short kick-off by Penrith. Herbert flies high, knocks the ball down for Isaiah Yeo. Penrith come up with it, then Isaiah Yeo drops it. It's booted sideways and Nathan Cleary thinks 2-point field goal. Nathan Cleary, it looked good, and
Who thinks like that?
that's easy.
Yeah, he'd come over as well. Thanks, Will.
Nathan Cleary struck it beautifully, but it sails to the left of the upright just so. He was looking to make it 4-2. Instead it stays 4-0. Hannah Hollis, Greg Alexander, Benji Marshall with your halftime show after a 40 minutes dominated by defence. 4-0 Gold Coast.
He's got that opposite there blocker, Bo Fermor. He's been fantastic. It's a real good battle over on that side of the field. He runs the ball hard. He's hard to pull down. Very similar to his opposite number, Liam Martin, and it's been a real battle for me in this second half. The Titans just need to cut a few penalties coming out of trouble. Stop gifting the Penrith Panthers field position and make them work really hard. I doubt whether Penrith will be as bad in the error department as they were in the first half, so they need to go up a gear in the second half.
Underway in the second 40. We've had fireworks pre-kickoff and during half-time, so as a result, the smoke haze lingers and Sam Lasoni shoulders his way back into the work. They've only had 2 wins so far this season, Gold Coast, against the Warriors and West Tigers. How they'd love to take down Penrith and bounce back from that 26-point defeat to North Queensland last week. SASA returning to NRL for the first time since Magic Round last year. And Tino Fa'asuamaleaui strong for them in the opening half. In fact, that Magic Round game last year had 60 points as Will Smith kicks to open territory. He was just inside the 40. Won't get the right angle on it to find the sideline, and Dylan Edwards can return. Taylor May. What a Penrith thinking as they return to the field. May bouncing back to his feet down a very skinny short side now, and good work from Tago, but he's dropped the ball in the contacts. He stayed in the field of play, but couldn't hold the ball, and Gold Coast celebrate.
Yeah, I think it was Patrick Herbert that come across. He's made some telling saves in the in-goal area in that first half, and this time he just tries to bundle him out into touch. Watch him come from nowhere. Puts the shoulder on. Bang! Tries to force him into touch. Stays in field there well. Does young Tago, but then loses the ball after the impact on the way up.
Heads in. Both arms around Liam. Heads down. Clock's off.
Number 8.
Aaron,
You can see
stay
them
in.
lined up
Stay
there
in.
the
Stay
last
in.
4 and 4 of the
Stay in.
last
Stay
5
down,
of the last
ball
6, in
in.
fact, by the visitors tonight. Now Kelly. Able to get the ball away. Penrith appeal for passing off the ground after the tackle
Ball
was
touched the ground when
complete,
he
and
passed it.
now Peter Goff
Challenges.
obliges.
Yeah, his elbow, the ball-carrying elbow did hit the ground. He bounced straight back up, but he didn't get a call from the referee, and unfortunately, is a penalty in the modern game.
Sideline to James Hooper.
No two ways about it, Matty. This will be the upset of the season if the Gold Coast can go on with this here. They know what's at stake. Their skipper, Tino Fasua Malaawi, that man on screen now, very animated in the sheds at halftime. And just keep an eye on David Fafita. He got that right knee heavily strapped during the break.
Thank you, Hoops. Last time they met, 48-12 in favour of Penrith. It's a long time ago now. Coruscant into dummy half. Can they find their feet soon, Penrith, as Cleary goes to Martin. In great position here in the opening minutes of the second stanza. Go for Cleary, another delightful kick, and it's there for Isaac Tago. Viliami kick out may have been taken out. It doesn't matter because Cleary with the perfect try assist and Tago flashing through to score.
Well, it doesn't take them long to get it right. Nathan Cleary, a couple of kicks in the first half, dead in goal. They could have got a couple of tries there with his kicking game in the first half. This time, pinpoint accuracy there. The grubber kick through, the second man play, grubber kick in and behind. Kickout would have scored 2 if he'd have got there first. He got bumped on the way through, but it's a young fellow there that made the mistake a little bit earlier in Tago that gets a try for the Panthers. Only a few minutes into the second half, and they are on their roll.
Yeah, they are, Blocker. The thing I like about this shape is that the two, Kickow and the centre, just lead, and they were going for the kick. And Nathan had the opportunity to put the kick in, and they led really hard, and they were both genuine options. One for the pass and then for the kick. And then obviously then he had Luai out the back of that shape, which just puts the defensive team in 2 minds and very, very hard to defend.
Well, the thing is that in the first half, we saw the Titans really coming off their line and putting pressure on Cleary. That time, as you said, his outside men looked like they were going to get the ball if he passes. Grubber kicks in behind, and that is a try early in the second half. As I said, the Panthers have got the ability to come out and score 30 in the second half.
So as quickly as that, Nathan Cleary finds himself kicking for the lead, landing them above 80% this season. He was 6 of 7 last week at home. To edge the Panthers ahead by 2. It's good. Penrith 6, Gold Coast 4. Next up, South Sydney against Manly. And James Hooper, you have some breaking team news.
There is some team news around this cracking game, Friday night footy. We've got you covered on Fox League, Matty, and it is that a big in for the Manly Seagulls. Josh Schuster will return. He will start the match. Ethan Bullymore back to the bench for the Seagulls. And for the Bunnies, a debut. Big Shaq Mitchell, Latrell's brother. He will get his first start in the NRL. We'll have it all covered for you here on Fox League.
Hannah Hollis, Greg Alexander,
Stay
Benji
offside.
Marshall. The team back in the Clive Churchill studio. Nathan Cleary enjoying himself out there all of a sudden. So Shaq Mitchell for South Sydney and Josh Schuster for Manly in the game to follow this one. Cody Walker's 150th. As Martin is driven sideways, strong defence from Furmore. The 2 men identified by my co-commentators at halftime. Steve Roach, Shane Flanagan. Good to see the edge forwards running hard into each other as Coruscant goes to Yeo. Very uncharacteristic in the first half, Penrith. Errors, incompletions, clunky attack. And they trailed 4-0 at the break. It has taken only a few minutes to score their first try and find the lead. Here's Cleary. Going high. This will take some catching, and Brimson does well. Actually caught the ball while falling to ground.
Yeah, Matty, and you talk about Penrith being clunky in attack and a few errors with the football, but defensively for me, they were off. 25 missed tackles in the first half, that's usually what they concede in a game.
Corey Thompson gets the roughhouse treatment. As Ivan surveys the landscape. Herbert. Well, Penrith defence standing up here. No easy meters. Can Fafita forge some? By Sorensen and Yeo. Kickout involved as well. So they've only come 19 metres in this set. Will Smith kicks under pressure. And it's a wobbly torpedo down the ground where Dylan Edwards sees plenty of space. And Staines almost gets back to halfway.
Gee, he covers the ground well, doesn't he? Edwards, we've got a host of great fullbacks in the game. I don't reckon there's many better than this kid over the last couple of years. Attacks the footy, always got his hands on the ball.
Averaging more than 200 run metres this season, Blocker. 243 last week against the Raiders. 242 last time he played Penrith. He's trying to clock 200 tonight for the 5th time this season. As Coruscant goes to Cleary, and now kick out with the offload back to Cleary. Cleary to kick out to Cleary. That's how it works. It's a bit like clockwork there for the Panthers.
Yeah, some really smart play. Nathan gets his big back row one-on-one. He puts his nose through the line. You saw in the first half, he actually passed and got in front of the football, and they got to try taking away from him. On this occasion, he takes his big back row deep into the line. He gets his nose through the line, and he's so good at that offload. But Nathan still makes himself available, and he gets the ball down. And it just shows what this Penrith Panthers mindset is. They were down at half-time. They've just come back out. They haven't gone outside of the box. They've just played their normal football, get field position and run our shapes, and we'll get points, and that's exactly what they've done.
We always hang around someone that can get you the ball. No good backing anyone up that doesn't pass the ball, but kick out, legs tackles, gets the ball, stands in the tackle. Cleary stays alive back on the inside, and real early in the second half, this has been dominant from the Panthers. They go in for number 2.
Viliami kick out. He leads Penrith's offloads with 16 for the season coming into this game. 3rd in the NRL in the offload department. That was his first of the night, and a good one.
Yeah, Nathan uses him smart. He takes him to the line and he gets him so he can get his nose through the line and obviously create the offload. But you'll see probably in this second half now, Nathan will do exactly the same play, but he'll go out the back and create some opportunity.
Yeah, the thing is, they've got options. That's the thing. They're all up on the ball. They get into position, and the Sharkies too, quicker than any team in the NRL.
Cleary makes it 8 the difference. Viliami kick out, 17 offloads for the season. James Hooper, almost 3 times as many as any other Panther.
He's a machine, the big unit, and crack bank just like that, Matty. The reigning premiers assert their authority on this contest. Nathan Cleary scores the try, but it's the guile out of Api Coruscant at dummy half. He looks to the right, he shapes right, then he plays left, and the Panthers power over. The Gold Coast, they need to find some sort of answers here.
Well, that was a great shot of players' emotions, as you mentioned then, Hoop. If you have a look back on the inside of Cleary, he dummies on the inside, goes on the outside. They could have went out the back. Options everywhere for the Panthers.
Strong from Spencer Leniu. Backed up by Liam Martin. They've rolled their sleeves up at half-time and they've slotted back into situation normal, Shane Flanagan.
Yeah, and James Hooper commented on the Api Coruscant, how he went out to the right and came back to the left. And there was no mistake in that. It was all planned.
There's kick out with another offload. He's 2nd of the night. Edwards is cut down by Herbert. They look rattled on that right-hand defensive side, Gold Coast, as Cleary drives the kick low down to Brimson. The chasers get through quickly. And they'll turn to defence again. Here's Marziu.
You know, I don't know whether the coach, Ivan Cleary, would have said that much at half-time. These guys are pretty proud. They would have known that they played ordinary in the first half. And there's a sign of it to start this second half. They've been on fire.
I think Ivan might have just said to him, hey, boys, what do you think? I saw him talking to Api Coruscant. How do you rate your performance? Where are those areas our key indicators. Is there energy? Is there good talk? Wouldn't have been a lot about tactics and what we need to do. It's just more about energy, line speed, and go back to what we do best.
Furmore playing the ball. Clark to Smith. And his kick for Edwards, who leaps and is tackled in the air. Brian Kelly will be the man penalised here. Well, they ran back on from half-time. Leaders, having kept the Premiers to 0, believing they could go on and win this game, and in the blink of an eye, barely 10 minutes, they're down by 8 and under more pressure here.
Well, I think the Titans are the ones that got the penalty there. You know what? You see that in normal motion. I know we're going to protect the kickers these days, and that's the rules, but Liam Martin half-pipe pulled out of it anyway.
I thought it was Brian Kelly penalised for that tackle. But it was the tackle of Smith, the kicker, in the air, so Gold Coast can apply the blowtorch. Vasul Malawi. And Liam Martin goes on report as a result of that tackle. Here's Smith, he's okay. As he comes in the tackle to Martin. Clark. For Herman SASA, wouldn't he love a try tonight? His coach said he made himself a must-pick given his work at training. Lasone through Sexton, here's Brimson, Herbert. Fighting for a fast play of the ball. Here's Sexton on the last, and it's knocked on by Sorensen. Next best result for the Titans.
Scrum. Middle scrum.
Well, they've got themselves in a position now, haven't they, the Titans? Near enough is good enough after an explosive start of the second half from the Panthers. Here's the Titans' chance. Here's the knock on. Yeah, gone forward out of his hands there.
The previous shift for me onto the right-hand side for the Titans was a little bit sideways. They go on coast to coast. They need to square the Penrith Panthers defence up, go deep into the line, but go square and then play out the back and get that man David feet of the ball early.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Sexton for Smith, Kelly outside of him. He goes in behind Smith and has to surrender. So Penrith inside the 10. Was early in the set anyway. Happy to concede that one. That becomes tackle 1 for the Titans. Marzu playing the ball. Clark, Vasul Malawi. Keeping both sides of the field open here. Now Sexton out towards the feet of the kick. Early in the count. And they force the goal line drop out. It was Taylor May backtracking.
Yeah, it's a good tactic always. When the opposition is sprinting off the line and try and put pressure on you, the little kick in and behind early in the tackle camp. They're all up. Good tactic. They had to play it here, the Panthers. The Titans will get the ball back.
Do you hold your breath, though, Shane Flanagan, as the coach? 2 tackles down, your halfback's kicking the ball on the goal line.
Well, hopefully that he wouldn't have been smart enough that he saw Dylan Edwards at the ruck, defending right at the ruck, and he knew he had some time. He just had to thread the needle, get the ball through, and make sure he had a real good chase on it. Yeah, it's not easy, but he did a good job.
Here he is, Sexton from Vasul Malawi. Clark, and Lasone stumbles his way through the line.
Gee, they made a difference, haven't they? Lasone and SASA.
And now a penalty against Penrith.
Leave it, James. James, leave it.
And they've come on and they've run with intent.
What are we going to do, Aaron? Okay, just wait, Aaron. Hold.
Hands on the ball as Lasone looked for a quick play of the ball. That's an easy one for the referee.
Go.
Down by 8, they'll tap and go. Vasul Malawi for SASA. Here's Smith. Back for Marzu, bit of footwork at the line in the face of Isaiah Yeo, who still makes the tackle. Clark out of dummy half, he'll have a crack.
Short! Release!
The ball finishes up short, the body not. dummy half. Can SA help himself? Well, he had no time. No time. Smith, the grubber, through the line. Edwards back into the field of play. Now he counters. It's an important tackle from Brian Kelly.
Yeah, and that's disappointing for me. You know, that's the Gold Coast Titans halves. They've got to get the ball out to that right edge where David Fifita is. They stuffed around with it a couple of plays out of dummy half and then went down the left edge for a kick. They've got to get good field position, get to the post and shift to the right. I'll
tell you what, he's got to get himself involved in the game. Luai, we know what a great player he is. Only 2 carries in the whole game so far.
Here's a fresh man on, Jamin Salmon, giving Spencer Leniu a breather. Cotrasau for Charlie Staines. Cleary kicks out towards Corey Thompson, who has time, makes the catch and can't get away from first contact from kick out. Purgett played on the wing last week, goes back to the centre position, vacated by David Fifita. Kelly with the offload that falls for Fodawaker. He throws it to Sexton. They're chancing their arm, the Titans. The coach said this week, we haven't been offering a lot with the ball. We want to play some footy. It wasn't defence that is often the go-to subject for coaches under fire of a losing team. It's let's attack, and Brimson tries to do that. He goes to Fodawaker. Liu to Smith. And here's Bo Fermor. Another offload that's forward, and he throws it to Isaiah Yeo. Crichton counters. Luai. Tago changes the angle. Now he'll offload. Fisher Harris. Stop start. Edwards. What's doing? He takes the tackle.
And that's the price you pay sometimes. They had a couple of offloads early in that set, and they went to hand, but they just pushed the pass on that last play, and once again gifted the Panthers field position. They need to be really good defensively here. They've fought back after an awful start to this second half.
And they've got to hang on right now because they've given them field position, as you said. They'll come alive here now, the Panthers, in that attacking zone. Here they come.
Sonny Luke out there in jumper 14 after his impressive debut last week. 25 minutes, a try assist with one of his first plays for this man, Isaiah Yeo, in fact. Fisher Harris falls 5 metres short of the line. Luke to Cleary, and Luai hits Staines, bobbing up in the middle of the field. Now Edwards. Luke looking around, his target is Cleary. Common one on the last. Luai's kick looks heavy and is.
The young hooker that's come on, I've watched him a fair bit come through the grades. He's got a beautiful pass out of dummy half, both sides, a beautiful spiral pass, 20 metres either way. He does it every time and hits the spot. One to watch.
It's a great story that was touched on last week. Story of persistence, fighting back from so many serious injuries. He left Penrith for a year to go to the Magpies, the West Tigers system. Comes back and made his debut as a 26-year-old. Tanner Boyd also out there now for only his second game of the season.
Holding on.
Number 14 for Gold Coast.
Wait. Hey, Greg. Oh, mate.
His first NRL since round 1. Tanner Boyd, fractured cheekbone, his setback. The hard-earned index led by the man you're looking at on screen. Fasil Malaawi, his first breather of the night.
Great captain's knock. He's tried to put him in a position here.
More than 100 run metres, approaching 30 tackles. Just need the next try, Gold Coast, to get back the belief they must have had at half-time after such an impressive defensive display. Sexton, Brimson, and it's put down by Fifita. Watch out, Gold Coast. Here come the speed machines. It's May down the sideline, looking to score in 6 straight games, just short. Tanner Boyd take a bow. Will Smith likewise. Now Tago twisting and turning. And AJ Brimson says he's knocked the ball on.
What a terrible play there from Tago. Honestly, after a long-range break like that, to run from dummy half that close to the sideline. What a waste of a tackle. I reckon the coach will be talking to him about that.
Yeah, they had space and they had numbers out to the right-hand side, but give credit to the Gold Coast Titans. What a chase, and then some real good defensive efforts here. Will Smith, Tanner Boyd force the error.
The ball is lost over the try line and then goes touching goal.
I reckon he would have tried to do it himself. He has his time over. He'll learn from that.
Thanks, mate.
So Penrith knock on in goal.
That's a 20.
And you're right, the desperate chase by Gold Coast. Really, 12-4 against Penrith. Game on the line if the Panthers score next.
Okay, time on.
Well, that could have been game over if they don't have that chase. And, you know, sometimes these type of efforts are bigger than scoring points. The ones you save are so important and outstanding. And Tanner Boyd just come on, but Will Smith's been there from the start. A great chase.
Will Smith was the man to make initial contact. But Boyd was right there, and now Fisher Harris and Corey Thompson have a disagreement. Fisher Harris in the wood chopping at the Easter show for a moment there, and he gets involved again.
That's not comfortable when you get a corky in your forearm like that. He break his arm off.
Clark goes through Sexton for Fita, no room again. Sweating on him, it's Tago and Luai. Not for the first time today, Tago has handled for Fita well. Here's Clark. Just fighting for every bit of territory, Aaron Clark. Sacrificing some play of the ball time as a result. Here's Brimson.
Trying to spark something, isn't he, Brimson? Had plenty of carries.
Sexton puts it in the air. Out towards the wing of May, who knocks it on. And the penalty will go to Gold Coast. Offside, is it, against the Panthers?
Yeah, I think it's Jerome Luai. The ball comes back to him. He couldn't do too much with it, and he bats it back, but he's definitely offside.
Well, again, Gold Coast get a chance. They've had several of them since falling behind by 8. They force their way through this defensive unit, this pink wall of Penrith. Clark's pass to ground. Kelly had to wait. Tackled by Cleary. Smith for Isaac Liu. Now Tanner Boyd to Clark. It's Sexton for Fida, and again Isaac Tago one-on-one. Stops him on the spot. Herbert. This time Luai kick our number up, along with Sonny Luke. Thompson, long, it was a wild pass for Sexton. His kick will come down just in the field of play and be taken by Nathan Cleary.
Yeah, it was a pretty average set by the Gold Coast Titans. They've just got to get more people in motion. They've got to have both sides of this field set and then decide which side they're going to go, depending on what the Penrith Panthers defence does. At the moment, they're too predictable which edge they're going to go to.
When it comes to being tackled in the opposition 20, Gold Coast 38 times, Penrith 24. A big advantage for the home team, but they can't capitalise on that field position. Here's Luke.
Well, the biggest problem for the Titans, they don't throw that much at you. We're talking about how good the Panthers' defence is, but the halves have got to take control here for the Titans. They've got to put some different plays on. It's all same-so every time they get in that attacking zone.
Cleary says, catch that, AJ Brimson. And again, he does well, the Gold Coast fullback.
The good sides block when they get in the opposition's 20-metre line. No matter where the ball's played, they have got shape both sides of the field. So the dummy half has got to make a decision which side he goes, but usually that decision is made on the defensive structure of the opposition. And unfortunately, the Gold Coast aren't at that level at the moment. They're not. Penrith Panthers have got shape both sides. They've got things ready to go. They've got guns either side.
Just looking at David Fafita go to the sideline there, a shake of the head and reading his lips. I'll translate. I don't think the injury is much chop. I don't know whether he'll be back. James Hooper will check on that for a sideline. As Sexton completes high down the ground towards Edwards, who makes a meal of it. The drop, not the first time tonight from the usually safe as Dylan Edwards.
Well, it was Patrick Herbert on the kick chase, just got through and just got in the eyesight of the fullback, and he's come up with an error. As you said, it's not like him. He's usually pretty safe under the high ball, but some good kick chase.
Yeah, his third error of the evening for the meter man, Dylan Edwards. Played brave through the back end of last season and into the grand final, fractured foot and all. Ivan Cleary will be thinking, this isn't the team I've seen over the last few weeks, but here they are in Queensland and still leading by more than a converted try.
Well, there's no doubt in the effort from the Titans. It's just what they throw at you. That's the biggest problem.
And now they get a penalty to the tackle. An illegal strip with Fafita off the ground, Shane Flanagan. Who do you run a play for here?
Well, I just hope they don't have a setup for a setup and then go back to a side, and it's so predictable. The Penrith Panthers are a good defensive outfit and they'll read it. So I'd like to see all three of their 6, their 7, their 1 on the same side, but everyone in motion, 13 players moving in one direction.
Can the Titans set up a big finish? Liu takes the first run. Pulled long for Sexton. No Fotuaika. Settles it again. And now he loses the ball. Sonny Luke spotted it. He asked if Peter Goff did, and the whistle gave him the answer. Jim Dimmick alongside Justin Holbrook as time ticks away on them.
Jerry, you got a captain's challenge? Titans are challenging the decision of a knock-on.
Okay. A challenge here. Remembering that Graham Annesley said in his
looking
weekly
to see if the ball carrier
briefing
retains possession.
a couple of weeks ago, well, it's
he loses the ball after the tackle is complete. The challenge is unsuccessful.
Well out of the tackle. There was nothing there from Penrith at all.
Unsuccessful.
How would you challenge that?
He's a front row block.
Fair dinkum. If the captain asked me, I'd say make play.
The captain's on the sideline.
This scrum up.
Tino says, don't blame me, Blocker. It's not me. I'm not guilty.
You always ask the front rowers, don't you, Flano? Are you sure? Listen to what I say. Are you sure?
You get one chance all year. When you lose your gold card, you're gone.
You're off.
That's it, mate.
And that probably sums up the Gold Coast Titans when they get into this field position. It was a set-up play for a set-up play. And unfortunately, they come up with an error, but they need to have more when they're in that good field position because they're still in this game. Just jag a try here, and they're back in it.
I was about to say, for future reference, that if the hand is in the ruck and around the ball and that hand is removed and it comes free, we expect to see the ruling go against the defending team. But there was no hand with Nkui at the ball there. James Fisher-Harris. Locked away until the end of 2026 at Penrith, and for good reason. His run followed up by Isaiah Yeo. Luke, another of the local champions in this Penrith team, as Cleary kicks high. Brimson again going to ground as he catches it, and he's easy prey for Jerome Luai. Taylor May strong on Patrick Herbert as Thompson returns. Well, 8 points seems like 80 for Gold Coast right now. Can Greg Marzu bust some tackles and change all that? Takes takes a knock to the eye here and immediately removes the mouth guard. So there's a problem for Greg Marzu. Keep our eye on that as well. Fermor. Followed by this kick from Will Smith. Edwards underneath. This time he's safe, but under pressure again. Brian Kelly timing his chase beautifully. Now Staines, he stopped inside his 20. Sideline, James Hooper.
Gold Coast down to 16 for the remaining 11 minutes. Matty, as you can see, David Fafita, ice on that right knee on the bench. He will play no further part. And Justin Holbrook has pushed all in. He has used his last interchange. Tuno for Suamala back into the fray.
Taylor May boasting a fray that started as a plat. It's now a little frayed. The road ahead for Gold Coast. Roosters, Dragons, Sharks, Broncos, with a view to the Fafita injury. So Penrith's kick taken by Corey Thompson. He skips away from Luai, thinks about linking with Margie, but Jamin Salmon prevents that.
And that's a big decision for the Gold Coast Titans coach. Just over 11 minutes to go, and he's used all his replacements. Most of the time they'd like to keep it within that 5 minutes and have one up their sleeve. But to play this, all those middles have got to stay out there for the remainder of this 10 minutes, and they've got to find some energy so they can get some points.
Well, Shane, Gold Coast have never recovered from a 2-6 start to the season to make finals. So it's a big 10 minutes ahead for the Titans, according to the stats. He's gone all in for good reason. He needs this man, Fasua Malaawi, and the other 12 out there to somehow lift the Titans to victory here. Sexton kicks on or just within the 40-metre line, down to May. And he chews off plenty of metres before greeting the defensive chase.
Well, that's a good comment you make there, because we're talking about fatigue starting to set in here for the Titans. The kick chase there, he was able to run 30 metres upfield without the chases. So Penrith on a bit of a roll now. If they can get their act together, they'll score again here soon.
Luke out of dummy half. They're looking ahead perhaps at full time, or definitely at full time, to Parramatta, Melbourne, and then the Roosters. So a tough streak to come for Isaiah Yeo's men. Parramatta, Melbourne, Roosters ahead for the unbeaten team as we speak. Cleary high. Thompson second guesses himself off his legs. Fisher Harris can't get the ball. Salmon picks it up. It's still the last, says the referee. And they'll change it over now.
Hand over there.
Gold Coast.
Well, isn't that 6 again there?
He's ruled that
Well, he's ruled that he
didn't touch Gold Coast, but it appeared that while Corey Thompson hesitated, that he still made contact with the ball. Maybe a replay will illustrate differently.
I thought he threw out a foot there. Anyway.
Have a look. Rocket did appear, did it not, to bounce off the ground into the right foot of Corey Thompson. Penrith a little unlucky not to be defending now, and those glasses he's sporting, Stephen Roach, clearly work.
Should have had him on a while ago, I reckon.
Liu for Sexton. Here's Herbert. The defence tonight of that man, Tago, in conjunction sometimes with Luai, first class. Brimson looks to test it. Here's Grubber. Was he taken down after the kick? The second kick by Will Smith.
Knock on.
Now knock on by
Hand
Taylor
over here.
May.
Hey.
I think they were knocked on by Titans first.
And now the penalty goes to Penrith for back chat.
Big Robert, he wants to get in himself. Instead,
Tino,
denies
the
that.
penalty's here now for dissent, mate.
Well, was Brinson taken out there? I'd say yes.
Yep. Let's go, Nathan.
Yeah, it was off the right hand of Will Smith as he tried to regather the ball, then lost onto the ground.
But for me, that's what needs to happen in this last 7 minutes. AJ Brimson needs to get his hand on the football every set. Some of those inside-outside plays, he's the man to break them open. He's got leg speed, he's got class, and he can score a try. Fisher Harris.
The Panthers looking to put this one to bed. Next up, South Sydney against Manly, both beaten last week. And as James Hooper told you a short time ago, Josh Schuster to play for Manly. Shaq Mitchell for South Sydney. Here's Tago. Inside the 20 they go.
He's done well again, Herbert.
Cleary calling a couple of players underneath before finding Eisenhuth. Nothing fancy about that play as Luke goes to the general again. Cleary has the ball into the corner. It's pushed backwards by Penrith. Still the last, they say. Charlie Staines, the second kick back the other way this time. Martin contests the ball. Corey Thompson under the pump. He shrugs away from Luai, loses the ball, and Penrith get it straight back.
Okay, first knock on Titans, field of play. First knock on Titans.
So he's ruled a knock on both ways. The first against Gold Coast. Hard in mouth stuff here for Corey Thompson, who thought he got back into the field of play, and after his knock on, reciprocation from Penrith.
Did all the hard work to get back in the field of play and then knocked on.
Penrith, let's
Panthers, what about this? Flano, right in the middle of the park. All their players will come to one side by the look of it.
Nice and tight.
Something coming from this scrum.
Yeah, they'll have a trick shot here, but this set will be well constructed and planned.
Break.
Luke from the back of the scrum to Cleary. The first play is a dummy and take the line on. Fermor grabbed hold of him. Luke. Nearly scored last week on debut. Now Cleary for Eisenhuth. Standing for a long time. That's 3 tackles used. Luke shows it flamboyantly, then hitting Cleary. Luai, the kick from Tago, who was crunched by Herbert as he kicked. And what a result. What a result for the Panthers. It trickles into the in goal. It's picked up by the Titans.
Oh, not like
it's trapped in goal, but even better now they get a penalty.
Shoulder charge by Herbert by the look of it. He was right there on point. I think he tried to put his arms around there. It's a tough penalty, I'd reckon.
Tino's the captain, mate. I'm not going to talk to him.
Yeah, that right arm.
That's a tackle, isn't it?
I would say so.
It's an aggressive tackle. I'm not sure if he
have
come in
another shot
contact
here.
with his head, he'll come off worse for wear.
A bit of a head clash from Herbert.
This is a part of the game.
He needs to clean that up. No. Wait, we got him. Time off.
Second.
As they're setting up here, it just goes to show you sometimes when the dummy half goes and has a little shot on his own, it can spoil the whole set. You get someone else stuck into dummy half and the pass is not accurate out of dummy half, and then they have to reload and start their set again, which happened on the occasion. Nathan Cleary had a shot himself on play 1. The dummy half went on play 2, and then they had to find someone else at dummy half on play 3. It just spoiled the flow of the set.
That next game, South Sydney against Manly, the second leg of Friday night footy. The Rabbitohs on a 5-game winning streak against the Sea Eagles. They rolled them in last year's prelim final, 36-16.
Time off. Pat, you've got to go off
4
HIA,
and
mate.
3 this season. Off that loss to Cronulla.
Herbert's going off, HIA.
Being called off by the bunker, relayed eventually to the referee. So that will be the end of Patrick Herbert's night, a really strong defender.
Looks all right to me.
Yeah, I think he's saying, Block, I've only got a bleeding nose, you know. I haven't got a HIA, but it's a modern game these days. Taking his time as well.
I'm not going to agree with it all the time. We'll try and get it right as much as we can. Yeah, mate, we're going to wait for it.
Aaron Clark will be the fresh man on.
Got to have that swagger with the big screens now, haven't you? Flano, be having a look up, having a peck.
It's all TV time, isn't it, Block?
South Sydney Manly very quickly, your winner in the next game, Shane Flanagan.
Oh, that's a tough one, but I think South Sydney will bounce back.
South to bounce back.
In Cody Walker's 150th. How many tackles for Cam Murray tonight after 61 last week?
Wow.
I felt tired just reading that.
I hope we can keep watching him for 10 years. If he keeps doing it like that, he'll wear himself out.
Alex Johnston
Hold,
scoring in
wait
his
for the
last 4 games against the Sea Eagles. Here's Fisher Harris careering onto the ball. But Manly have won 16 of 21 in Gosford with the games being played against all comers. The Sea Eagles with a great record on the Central Coast. As Penrith's record improved to 8-0 with a try here. Salmon! Jamin Salmon held up over the line. 3.5 minutes left. It goes to Cleary. Another grubber. Another perfect grubber. Another try assist. Jerome Luai gives us the James Bond impersonation. But the Bond in this team is a man who is never shaken, who is never stirred. It's Nathan Cleary.
Haven't they got a wonderful combination? They don't even have to look at each other now. They've got little signals, I'd take. Watch this for a little grubber kick in and behind. They know exactly what's doing. Luai checked his run there, checked himself, made sure that he was onside. Just like that, the Panthers are in again.
Well, I think there's more to it than that block a little bit. Obviously, they've just had the change there with Herbert going to the head bin and Proctor is defending out in the centres. So Nathan Cleary, if you look, we get the high shot again, you'll see that Proctor is sitting back off the try line and these two halves know there's going to be some joy out there. If not on this play, maybe later in the thing, but they see the opportunity, they see the defensive line come up really hard and stop. He puts a kick in behind, a great combination.
4 try assists last season for Nathan Cleary. A couple again tonight. He's up to 9 for the season. Plenty for Ivan Cleary to review, especially in the first half. And the second half, far from ideal, through the very high standards of Ivan Cleary. But Nathan Cleary makes it 18-4. And Penrith about to be 8-0 for a second season in a row, the first ever team to do it in back-to-back campaigns.
Yeah, they're a class football team, well coached. I heard the coach before the game, talking about thinks they're getting better week in, week out. I think he might have taken a couple of steps back in the first half, especially defensively, and with some errors, 25 missed tackles, and a few too many just basic errors in the play of the ball. But they put their foot down in the second half, and that's a sign of a class side that can have different levels and be able to put their foot down.
The short kickoff is taken by Stephen Crichton. Landed heavily on his rump. And now Eisenhuth. So Penrith, they won 17 straight games in 2020, 12 straight last season. Going back into last season, this will be 10 straight tonight. And as I mentioned, the road ahead, a succulent one for footy fans, because next week, Penrith v Parra, week after, Penrith v Melbourne, week after, Penrith v Roosters.
Not a bad little run.
Then the Cowboys, who are turning some heads in 2022 as well. Won't that be a game on Fox League on Saturday night? Parramatta against North Queensland in Darwin. Cleary's kick. Will take some catching. It's done, and done well by Brimson. Brimson's numbers tonight: 115 run metres, 3 tackle busts, a couple of offloads. Hasn't delivered that huge running game or try-scoring game that maybe Justin Holbrook was looking for by the move.
Yeah, hard to do it against the Panthers, the Premiers.
So Jaden Campbell will play Queensland Cup again this weekend, we expect, having done likewise last week for Tweed. Does he come back in next week, and is it at fullback, or do you stick with AJ Brimson at fullback? I'll go to you, Coach.
Well, I don't think he could change just after 1 week. I think Brimson's done enough. It's a big job, a lot of work to be done, and I think he's their best fullback at the moment.
Isaac Liu, not for the first time this season, we will stop play while the locals enjoy their time on Seabus Super Stadium. And this one has a bit softer finish than last time. Not much, but a little softer.
That might be a cracked rib there. Jeez, he hit him hard.
At least she had her clothes on. There's something.
Was that a lady?
How are those glasses going, Blocker?
I don't know. That's why I asked you.
But before we get too far away from the footy, Penrith have a big decision to make as well, because Brian Toto due back next weekend. We saw him with the team looking very fit and healthy pre-game.
He's in my team if he's fit.
You know, Charlie Staines and Taylor May have done well. Charlie's been there for all 7 games so far, and Taylor May, this will be his first game without scoring if he doesn't go over here. This season, that is. Moses Leota due back round 10.
Yeah, what a luxury to have, you know, those players coming back into a winning football team.
Here's Cleary kicking, looking for Staines to flash down the sideline. Instead it bounces kindly for Greg Marziu. And Greg gets those legs pumping, those strong legs. He's the beast in the Gold Coast gym as Faisal Malawi tries a chip and chase. That one for you, Big Nelson, Asava Solomona. They were so brave in the first 40, keeping Penrith to nil the Gold Coast, but in the end, they couldn't score in the second 40. Penrith did, and they win it 18 points to 4.